Trustee Schenk?
Here.
Trustee Markwart?
Here.
Trustee Forster? Here. Trustee Oppenheim?
Here.
Trustee Takaoka? Trustee Cook?
Here.
President Byrne?
Here, we have a quorum present. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Okay. Any citizens that wish to address the board tonight? Eobi, it's your last chance.
He's out.
No, you probably heard me. I'm sure the speaker works out there. Okay. All right, next is Village Manager Petrillo's report.
I'll take that, Mayor.
Okay, Village Manager Kevin.
Oh, thank you, sir. Good evening, Board. Just a few updates for this evening. First, as a reminder, our next board meeting is on a Monday. It's Monday, November 4th, in observation of the general election the following Tuesday. So again, as a reminder, Monday, November 4th, not Tuesday the 5th. And then in that same vein, we are required every year by the Open Meetings Act to approve a meeting calendar for the upcoming calendar year. Included in your packet was a draft, or proposed calendar, I should say, for 2025. The calendar is on your screen here, and I'll just walk through a couple of dates. Again, we meet normally on the first and third Tuesday of the month. In the month of March, we have proposed a third meeting on the 31st. This is to accommodate the consolidated general election that's scheduled to take place on Tuesday, April 1st. That will make one meeting then in April on the 15th. We have our normal schedule then through the month of July. July, we drop to the second and fourth Tuesdays to accommodate the Vernon Hills Days Festival. We then also have our typical one meeting in August on the 12th and our one meeting in December on the 9th. So if there are any July is not in front of you here, but is in your packet. So if there's any questions or recommended changes, otherwise we will go ahead and have that prepared for an upcoming meeting for approval.
Anybody have any concerns?
No, it didn't bump up against any holidays or anything.
Okay.
July. So tell me about July again. Why are we doing the?
We have July 4th, the first week, and we have Vernon Hills Days the week of, I think it's July 18th through the 21st. And so just to break that month up a little bit and not have to worry about.
The 4th is a Friday.
Correct.
So you just think people might be going away that week, or because it's not truly a conflict, and then the.
So the meeting would be the 8th and the 22nd.
But why is that better than the 1st and the?
I just think staying away from the 4th of July week if possible, if people are traveling for that week, maybe taking advantage of the long weekend. We could always go back to the 1st and the 15th. There's really no.
It also keeps
There's no
us being
downside.
Tuesday of Vernon Hills Days week, because everybody's pretty busy.
Yeah.
I guess
I don't-
they're busy.
The 8th and the 22nd, it's okay.
Well,
with
yeah,
me.
with us having only one in August, it works fine.
Yeah, I thank you. That's actually the other reason as well. It helps us move closer to so we don't have such a large gap between meetings between July and August.
Okay. It's up to the board.
One, two,
Any-
3, 4.
Just
Any negative
consensus.
Feedback on this?
We'll have a final approval at an upcoming meeting.
No problem. Okay. Anything else?
That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Now, John Petrillo, you got it.
Mine will be under communications, Mayor.
Okay, fine. Okay. All right. Anything from the chief?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no.
No.
Okay, all right.
Hey, Shannon, can I ask you a quick question? So in the reports, there's a line for other for they seem like about of offenses. What usually falls under other?
Oh, dear. Well, it's
Is that,
here. I've got
it doesn't, it's not that important.
We're talking between part 1 and part 2.
Oh, boy.
Part 2, crimes, other offenses, at
Yeah.
risk. There were 3 of them this month.
Well, actually, there was one, there was a lot more than that, but.
Yeah, looking at the classification of crimes there, I can just say it really runs the gamut. There's numerous offenses anyone might be cited with on any given day, and they probably just fall into that catch-all. We could always take a look, though.
With
Yeah, it was,
the incident with the BB gun pistols, would that be an other?
Sure, if charges stem from it. In that case, nobody was charged. We educated some juveniles and spoke to some parents, but certainly any number of those things could fall into that category.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know, does that satisfy you, trustee Singh?
it's sufficient, thank you.
Huh?
Sufficient, thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay, you're gonna do your, under communication? Yep. Okay. All right, no one else has a speaking part? Okay, on this vote agenda, is there a motion to approve items A through D? D.
Motion to approve, items A through D.
Second.
Motion is second. Roll call.
Trustee Markwart?
Aye.
Trustee Forster? Aye. Trustee Oppenheim?
Aye.
Trustee Schenk?
Aye.
Trustee Cook?
Aye.
President Byrne?
Aye. Motion carries. Okay. Unfinished business, none. New business, any new business? Anybody got anything? Communications.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder, SWALCO reached out to us this week to let us know that on Saturday, October 19th, there will be the opportunity for persons who desire to dispose of items not accepted on traditional waste and recycling pickup days to register. The Solid Waste Agency of Lake County is hosting a household chemical waste collection event in our community. This event will run from 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and will be at the Metro site. This is an opportunity for our residents and people in the surrounding communities to dispose of items such as motor oil, solvents, and other chemicals. This event is by appointment only, and persons must register. Persons can visit the SWALCO website and register online, or call 847-377-4950. This message is being repeated a second time, as turnout is very low for this event. And, SWALCO does spend a lot of money. Our own Vernon Hills Public Works team supports this event. And again, we would like to see people take advantage of this opportunity to help divert these items from the landfill.
So where do they do the electronics at?
So as part of our
Island
as
Park
part of our
or something?
contract, we do electronics collection at Public Works, and it is removed when I believe it's full or Public Works calls Waste Management.
So people should bring,
If you have electronics, take them to.
This is not electronic Saturday. This is just household.
no, I know, but you're saying people in town can take it to Public Works?
Yeah.
They can take electronics.
Electronic. Yeah, we have electronics recycling at Public
Yeah,
Works.
I
okay.
think, isn't it still outside?
Yeah, so there's a bin. You don't have to go through the gates, so it's accessible anytime. It's right inside on the side of our building, the east side of our building. Once it fills up, we then put it in a dumpster in the back and then deliver it once the dumpster's full. We're calling for delivery.
But that's just electronic.
Correct.
So all these other not accepted,
Right. We also accept oils at oil and gasoline at Public Works, but not many of these items that are on this list. So this is a lot of hazardous chemical waste that Public Works does not collect with any frequency.
okay?
Okay, and then a second message, as we are experiencing cooler temperatures and some rain, leaves are ultimately beginning to fall, and additional information will be shared as we get further into fall, but in an effort to give residents time to get ahead of fall cleanup, staff is sharing the following dates and tips for addressing leaf collection and yard waste pickup. First, please do not rake leaves into the street. The village does not have a means to collect leaves from the street. Please help to keep neighborhood storm sewer grates clear of leaves and debris. This helps keep neighborhoods from flooding during heavy rain events. Leaves can be collected and placed into disposable designated containers or craft paper bags and picked up on waste and recycling collection days. Residents without yard waste subscription service can purchase stickers at the Village Hall. The last yard waste pickup by Waste Management will be Monday, November 25th for residents with Monday service and Tuesday, November 26th for residents with Tuesday service. Other options, should those dates be missed, is hiring a private contractor to remove them or mowing over leaves. By mowing leaves and chopping them into small pieces, they break down into organic material, or leaves can also be used for composting in garden beds. More information is on the Village website under News or the Village Go Green webpage.
Okay, is that about it?
That's it, Mayor.
Okay.
That's it for me.
Is that you, Tom?
No, that's trustee Forster.
Oh, trustee Forrester.
Thank you. I just wanted to let everyone know and congratulate a couple of our own here. Trustee Tom Cook and Police Chief Kreis, who's not here, as well as President of the Park District, David Duerhofer. They were all nominated and received the award for the 30 Wonders of the 30th District by Senator Johnson. And they were acknowledged on Sunday for their achievements in the 30th District. So just wanted to kind of send congratulations to them, and if you could pass that along to Chief.
What did you do, Tom?
It was for, Dave's was for, Chief's was in police service, mine was in education athletics, and Dave's was in athletics, and it was people who've, she also had a number of young people. It's people who are involved in their communities and stuff like that. And
She's
she,
solicited-
because she did last year, she did the 30 Wonders of the 30th District for things like CUNY Mansion and stuff like that. And then this year they did it for people. And it was quite a nice event yesterday, Sunday at CUNYO.
Okay.
And I was there with, it was nice to be there with both Chief and Dave Dorhofer, so it was, we had, Vernon Hills had 3 of the 30, so.
Was there any, like, youth sports coaches and stuff
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah, from all over the 30th District, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I mean, true volunteers.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's too late for us, Mike.
So congratulations, it's nice
Yeah,
to have
Thank you.
representation in that from
Yeah.
our village, so thank you.
Yeah. All right, good. Okay. Anything else? No? All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Board meeting. Motion and a second, roll call. Of course, I could have said aye, right?
All in favor will be okay if you want.
All right, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any nays? Okay, the ayes have it. Meeting's adjourned. Okay. All right, next is, obviously, committee of the whole, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'd like to call the committee of the whole meeting to order. Guess we'll do roll call, or do we? Yeah. Give me a roll call.
Trustee Schenk.
Here.
Trustee Forster.
Here.
Trustee Markwart.
Here.
Trustee Oppenheim.
Here.
Trustee Takaoka. Trustee Cook.
Here.
President Byrne.
Here. Motion carries. Yeah, give me that. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's good. Okay. First is approval of the committee of the whole meeting minutes of October 1st, 2024. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any comments, questions, corrections, deletions? If not, roll call.
Trustee Oppenheim.
Aye.
Trustee Markwart.
Aye.
Trustee Forster.
Aye.
Trustee Schenk.
Abstain.
Trustee Cook.
Aye.
President Byrne.
Aye, motion carries. Okay. Concept review, Hawthorn Mall redevelopment project, revision to approved Phase 2 mixed-use building plans. So who's taking this one for Hawthorn?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and trustees and village staff. Thank you for having us here tonight. My name is Sam Whitebread. I'm the Vice President of Development for Centennial Real Estate. For those of you who know us, we own and operate the Hawthorn Shopping Center, along with our master planning development responsibilities. Tonight, we are joined with our development partners from Focus Atlantic, our architectural firm from SK&I, and our engineering group, Kimley Horn. Before you, and hopefully you all have had a chance to review the packet, of which we're quite excited about this evening. This is what we consider to be new, improved, evolved, and perhaps quite a bit better than what we were previously planning on. The plan before you, as you'll see, the left is the before. On the right-hand side is the current. We believe the land layout and the building configuration takes better advantage of the site itself and is a more efficient use when it comes to land planning. There are many pros to the plan overall, and we look forward to bringing up a couple of other team members tonight, talking through some of the building design, the characteristics, a lot of consistencies between where we started and where we are today, and also some revisions that we also consider to be advantageous to ourselves in the retail environment. Probably most of which, the current plan, which we have here on the right-hand side, and I'll bring it up in its entirety, does not demolish a significant portion of the mall as we previously contemplated. The currently approved plan considered taking down a large portion of the shopping center. The plan has evolved as such that we choose and we believe in the retail that exists there and would like to keep the building footprint intact in its entirety, as well as complementing it with the Phase 2 development. A large part of that is due to the success we've seen with the Phase 1 development. I know most of you have toured and have seen the project there itself. We couldn't be more excited with the outcome of that project, the success we've seen. As you've noted, we have some new late-breaking new retail openings with Anthropologie, who's just opened up a week ago. A week prior to that was Free People Movement. A month before that, we broke ground on the new Yard House project, which you can see the construction activity occurring out there now, targeting a summer open of 2025 with that. And then earlier in the year was Perry's Steakhouse opening, which we're very excited about. So good progress, good momentum, and really our Phase 2 plans here intend to capitalize on that. Some of the favorable consistencies between what you all have seen previously and what we're showing you tonight are that we have maintained the community green space. On the left was the prior adaptation, which considered the removal of the shopping center to the tune of about 130,000 square feet. Keeping it in its entirety now allows us to have the image that you see on the right-hand side of the screen here. And that imagery, maybe I can take it into a zoomed view there, would show you the East Plaza, which really serves as the central hub and the community connecting space for...
Basically, you're not going to remove Carson's?
The Carson's is removed, and that's to the south. Okay. This is a little tricky, and for orientation, this is east looking, and I'll push ahead just to answer the question. This is the south elevation where the Carson's has been removed and what we will build back in its place.
Okay.
When you say east looking, you mean facing west from the east, this one?
Correct, yes. And as not to make anyone dizzy, I've now toggled back to the east-facing plaza elevation, which sits, this is probably easier to associate, this sits on the former Sears site. This east elevation contemplates a new Grand Mall entranceway, an upper-level arcade or plaza that would allow customers to freely park in the AMC lot, enter the front door of the shopping center on the upper or lower level, which you'd then be greeted by the Dave & Buster's, which is in place, open and operating.
Where did you get the name Zocala from?
That's a random generic name that one of our architects made up, but we later found out from
Have that in town.
We got one
that
in
there
town.
is a business
I was just
operated with that
curious,
name.
huh?
So we're not telegraphing anything here. There's no hidden message in any of that. It's pure coincidence.
They make good food, and how I judge a Mexican restaurant, can you make ceviche?
That
Make
is
it-
by far
to
the
make it
standard of
right.
excellence. Yes, yes.
And these guys know how to do it. But, yeah, this would be an upgrade from their current location. Oh, man.
Well, if they make, we do aspire to have a great food and beverage offering, so we very well may need to have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
Which brings us to a key point of this design. As mentioned on the lower level, we intend to take what is the existing inline retail in the shopping center and open it up to the outside and have it exterior facing.
Sure.
Allows us to activate that green space on the plaza.
Yeah.
And then also allowing, at the upper level, allowing our current tenant, Dave & Buster's, to have some brand expression on the exterior of the building. We think there is good favor in that design. And if you've seen the east side of the shopping center recently, a base layer of these improvements are already installed out there. So you could go out there today and see, if I can pull the cursor over, you could see the grand staircase, which is intact. The terraced hillside is intact. And a base layer of turf and sidewalk is intact. This takes that design maybe a step, actually probably 3 or 4 steps further, and just creating a more properly programmed, highly amenitized gathering space. And then as you look towards the south, and I'll preempt this before I flip to the next slide, then the plaza carries around to the south in kind of a ribbon configuration. And as I click over here, we're now going from the east elevation to the south. And this is the former site of Carson's. And if you look off to the right here, you can see the corner of Dave & Buster's, which we all know and will recognize from what exists there today. Off to the side would be the Phase 2 development, which our partners from Focus Atlantic will get into a little more after I invite them up here. But the design here, the important thing to know is, again, programming the real estate in such a way that you have exterior facing, activated, inline storefronts that have connectivity. What we aspire to do is connectivity from the interior of the shopping center and the exterior. We've had conversations with a number of retailers. We think there's a market to bring sizable inline space to this area, the south-facing elevation of the shopping center with a new and improved parking lot, and of course, anchored by the new grand entrance. And just for reference, this new grand entrance takes place and occurs almost exactly at probably where the entrance of the former Carson's would have been, where that opening would have previously existed.
So there's good, these retailers, you'll be able to enter them from the inside the mall too?
That is the desire.
Okay.
That is the desire, and that's how we've currently planned it. There will be a case-by-case conversation with each
Sure.
individual retailer in which they'll appropriate their design, but that is how we've drawn it. That's how we intend to lease it. We think it helps us with our just overall pedestrian flow of traffic, which, as the team gets into the rest of the design and talks and walks through that, it is some pretty material conversation we've been having with staff as it relates to developing a pedestrian-friendly campus and making sure the things we're doing have meaning in the way of bringing residential tenants onto site. Can I walk from Phase 1 over to this entrance conveniently, safely?
Yeah.
Or can I walk up to the AMC lot? Or can I walk off-site or out to the new restaurants on Milwaukee and enjoy the offerings there? So
Yeah.
that is a key part of the design here. With that said, I'd like to invite our partners from Focus Atlantic to come up and take it from here, and they can walk you through the Phase 2 design.
Good evening, Mayor and trustees. I'm Vic Howell, Vice President of Development with Focus. Thank you for having us here this evening. As Sam mentioned, we'll talk, of course, about the new version of the Phase 2 plan. I did, though, quickly want to run through what we had previously proposed and what was approved back in October of '22, just for comparison, and talk about a few of those consistencies that we're keeping, of course. So currently, the multifamily portion of Phase 1 is doing very well. If you're not aware, we're at 93% leased, 90% occupied as of today. I believe it was in June. Yeah, in June, a year after opening, we were 86% leased. So the success there has given us a lot of confidence. And I state that because of the total unit count that we're noting here. If you'll notice in this first line here, the previously approved version on the left, we had 249 units in that plan. We had a maximum of 255 within that prior ordinance. The current plan shown today is 282 units, which we're still massaging. But again, we feel confident based on the demand and how well Phase 1 is done and how well we see the rest of the submarket performing.
300 plus,
311, yeah.
311.
Yeah. So we see that success, and we're not nervous about a slight increase in the unit counts. And to Sam's point, I think what we've created is a much better plan overall, both for the retail center and for the residents there. There's a general excitement amongst those residents for this mixed-use development, so a lot of interest in those Instagram posts, seeing the new store openings, things like that. We think that will only continue. Momentum will continue to grow with the retail leasing, and we feel good about that. But otherwise, the stats here really just relate to a few of the parking numbers, which prior version had a parking ratio of 1.52 for the residents within the enclosed parking garage. Sticking with the 1.5 ratio for the residents, nothing's really changing there. We'll talk a little bit about how that's structured when we look at the plans there. Maybe the biggest change, and we'll look at what this looks like, but the amount of retail gross square feet. Prior was around 33,000. In this new plan, we're at about 45,000. And as Sam had mentioned, of course, this comes in addition with the retention of the 130,000 square feet of the shopping center. So certainly a significant amount more retail as a campus with this plan. And we can look at that a little bit further.
Before you leave the slide,
Yes.
do you think, I noticed the retail parking. You've increased the retail by nearly 50%,
Yeah.
but reduced the parking by almost the same amount going the other way.
Yeah, I can speak to that. So it's a little bit of challenge. It's somewhat of optics. In the prior version of the plan, which, you know what, I'll just skip into it. It'll be easier
They were taking over the
to
lot
talk to.
here.
Yeah, I know, that's what.
Yeah, the prior version of the plan, the retail parking included enough to support the new mixed-use version, about 33,000 gross square feet, but it was also replacing the lot here, so we needed to include more parking stalls within that garage to support the existing shopping center.
So the actual parking, there'll be more of it, but it'll be outside as opposed to in the center of the building.
That's correct. That's correct. We're looking obviously campus-wide at parking as a whole, but that's the reason for the enclosed parking number that I put on there being higher before. In the new plan over here where we have the garage, this ground floor of parking in this garage is retail. It's really just meant to support the Phase 2 retail, when we still have the parking field south of the shopping center.
All right, thank you.
Yep. So this is an aerial view coming from Town Line Road South, looking north at the new development. And we'll go to a site plan and talk about all of this, but just as a frame of reference for Phase 1, sitting here in the distance, you'll notice the sort of layout and geometry of the buildings are very similar in the sense that there's a building with an enclosed parking garage, an internal courtyard. There's a bridge that connects it to this bar. Very similar layout and flow for the Phase 2 development. What I'll say is, the goal with Phase 1, of course, was to bring the entrance of the mall extended over towards Milwaukee and really have a pronounced entrance, and we've certainly accomplished that. We're very happy with how that turned out. Also frame the plaza space and the new mall entry, the future mall entry, which again, we've exceeded. So Hawthorn Road becomes this mixed-use environment that's very engaging and lively. What we're doing now with Phase 2, which is different than the prior version, is extending that Hawthorn Row around, wrapping it down, and having that same connection with Town Line, bringing that entrance further south, of course. Again, framing the new plaza space and the new entry here, and really just a continuation of what we found to be a success within Phase 1.
So this is actually pretty close to the original Phase 2,
That's correct.
only with more retail.
Exactly. The original Phase 2, to your point, was really just effectively the footprint of this building here on the east, and there was no retail in that version. The prior version that was approved in October of '22 did have retail, but all of it was shifted, of course, closer to the mall. So this is somewhat of a compromise between the two, but I think from a vision standpoint, accomplishes the goal, and we really found that this is going to be much more successful, again, for both end users.
What's the number of units in these two buildings? 292?
It's 282
But
total.
how does it break out?
282 total, and I have that so I don't misspeak. So in the east building, which is the larger building with the garage,
Yeah.
we estimated at 226 units.
Okay,
The west building would be 56 units as drawn today.
56?
56. So it's a similar, as I mentioned, to Phase 1, where there's ground floor retail framing this road, 2 floors of residential on the west building above that retail, and then 2 floors of residential above on the east, and then,
Well, both these new buildings have first floor retail?
yes,
Okay,
yep, all the way down Hawthorn Row.
all right.
And then 4 levels of residential after that retail, sort of as it wraps around to the backside. And we'll, the rest of our team will get a little bit more detail there. In fact, you know what, with that, I can turn it to Courtney on our team to talk a little bit about the site plan and orient you, and then to the SK&I team to talk a little bit about design.
Who else, is Vic here? What's your name in the back? Justin. Okay. You don't have any speaking parts?
Unless something goes wrong, I'm going to be quiet.
I did want to add, Mayor and trustees, that Tim is currently hiking down and up the Grand Canyon, so he couldn't be here today, but he wishes
Yeah.
to say hi at least, but he's out of reach currently. Anyways.
Okay.
Good evening. Hi, Mayor. Nice to meet you. I'm Courtney Brower, Vice President of Development. I've met some of the trustees. There are some new faces, but nice to meet everyone. I will be more involved with this project moving forward. And Vic took some of my speaking points, so I'm going to reiterate some of the important things about this site plan. But again, Phase 2, it consists of 2 buildings. They're both 4 stories in height with 282 units. The buildings are connected on the 3rd floor by this overhead bridge. Skipping to, this is the ground floor plan and site plan, just to give a little more context and detail to what's going on. But as Vic had mentioned, one of the really important aspects to us about this design was the continuation of Hawthorn Row, which is off the screen, down through, and it is bisecting our Phase 2 property. And that's important to us because we thought the double-sided retail concept in Phase 1 was really successful, and we wanted to create it here. We think having the retail alongside some residential programming just adds some activation and some vibrancy to this corridor. And again, this Hawthorn Row leads to the plaza beyond and to the mall just north off the screen here. So there is about 45,000 square feet of retail shown in red here. It is double-story, double-height space that would be attractive to our potential retail tenants. What is shown in blue on the screen is residential common area space. So the western building has its own small residential lobby, and then the eastern building has the majority of the amenity spaces and the programming. So the main entrance to the building is here under my cursor. That's a big double-story volume space. There'll be the leasing office in there, and then a lot of this programming is still being worked out now, but the amenity program will probably be quite similar to what we provided over in Phase 1, but there'll be amenities here located adjacent to an interior courtyard, which will have a pool, similar to what we did over in Phase 1. So we're still working on this and excited to develop it further. The western building will have access, again, to the amenities in the eastern building through that third floor overhead bridge for convenience. And they can also access the structured parking via that bridge. All of the residential parking will be in the structured parking garage, with the main residential car access coming off of the ring road through this driveway. And then the retail parking, as Vic had mentioned, we have about 106 spaces of retail parking in the structured garage, and that access will be off of Hawthorn Row through this driveway here, a similar configuration to what we have provided in Phase 1. And then lastly, some of the service areas such as trash and loading are depicted in this tan color. They're in the corners of the building for convenience, located adjacent to the retail spaces. Still working through how that works, but we want to have convenient access for the retailers for trash and loading. And then with that, if there's no questions, I do want to pass it off to our architects at SK&I, Andy, to talk through some of the architectural features and the design decisions, and talk through how the architectural design relates to what you already see on Phase 1.
Courtney, can I ask you a quick question about,
Yeah.
in the red, so that's also 4 floors, I don't know what you, yeah. How many units per floor there? Is that what's sectioned off here
Are you looking
for the
at
residential?
on
Above
the
it?
western?
Yeah, right where your cursor is.
I could probably actually skip forward a little bit, pretend like I didn't show you this yet. We do have,
Okay.
I don't know the exact count off the top of my head,
I got it. That's what I was looking.
but this gives you the idea of this is what's happening. Oh, I went too far. Second floor is, again, it's like the double-story retail height. Third floor gives you an idea of unit count in that building, but it would be, the entire floor is essentially units.
Thank you.
And
And I will- Yes.
in the smaller building, there's underground parking?
All the parking is in the westernmost building. All the parking's in, I'm sorry, the eastern building.
Oh, okay.
And then they would use the third floor bridge to access the parking structure.
Okay.
Yeah, all the parking's over here.
Yeah, okay, I see it, yeah. All right, well, okay,
Okay, with that, I'm going to pass it to Andy.
okay.
Thanks, Courtney. Hi, everyone. I'm Andy Tchaikovsky with SK&I Architects. Just to kind of maybe launch off from the building plan here, I think there's a lot of subtle little things here that we're doing with the building plan. You know, there are little retail plazas, little public spaces on the corner as you enter in from downline. The geometry of the east building takes the curvature of the ring road, and all those sort of blank spaces are actually really great opportunities for landscape, for outdoor courtyard space. So I think the landscape and the architecture is really going to play well here in what has long been a parking lot is now going to have a lot of little pocket green spaces, which are going to be, you know, a true asset to the community. But moving forward, you know, we were here 2 years ago and we got this building approved with you all, and we had some great conversations about the design of the building. So we really didn't want to upset the cart with that. So with this new building form and the new geometry of the building and the new layout, we wanted to just harness what we've already, you know, designed and sort of repurpose it in the new building form. And essentially what we did last time is we had sort of 3 architectural kind of pieces to kind of break up these longer buildings. We had the red brick building with the ground floor retail. We had this mercantile, the white building on the right, that was more of a mercantile, kind of industrial look, that also had a tower element. And so we repurposed all these pieces to recreate this new double-sided retail street. And we really think that's like the most important thing of this project, is to replicate what's been successful in phase one. Previously, we had faced a lot of the retail on the north side facing the mall. Now we've recentered this on this new street, this north-south street from Town Line. Originally, we also had, and you'll see in a couple images, we had really convinced everyone to make this street, previously this was we designed it to be a residential street. And we talked a lot about the architecture of the residential character, which is the third piece. And you'll see that as it wraps around the ring road. But this is a view as you're driving in from Town Line. So you can see the repurposed mercantile on the right, the red brick on the left, the pedestrian bridge at the third floor, and that's actually the residential lobby, sort of at the base of that dark tower. And also the small public spaces, the cafe, public zones.
When you say mercantile, what kind of a building material is the exterior?
It's like an aluminum frame. It's sort of mimics, it sort of has more of an industrial, like a wrought iron facade. And we had that before, and they used to have the Hawthorn, large letters on the top of it. That was the previous design. You'll see that in a moment to remind everyone. Okay. This is a view sort of like in the air. Dave and Buster's is behind you, looking down this new street. So there's retail on both sides, and then the two floors above it are both residential. And so the idea is to break these up with these little brick pavilions and sort of tie the red brick pavilions together with the dark panel frames. And then you can see the pedestrian bridge beyond. And then this is sort of down in the new street. So this is the double-sided retail street. Again, you see the red brick marching along, the playful storefronts, and again, we took liberties. We have to design something to suggest what the atmosphere is going to be like. But we have these retail storefronts on both sides of the street, the bridge crossing over, very similar to the phase one.
The only 4-story apartments don't have retail under it.
Yeah. So basically what happens is, there's the retail's all 2 stories, and then we match that up behind the retail with 2 stories of residential.
This is just what kind of a structural engineering study do you have to do to put, the residential on top of the retail?
So basically, we generally call this a podium. You basically build a big tabletop, and then we're able to put the wood framing on top of that. You basically create essentially a tabletop. You run the plumbing down, it transfers underneath because it's such a high space, we can run all the plumbing underneath the podium, and then you can.
It's called podium.
Podium, yeah. Essentially, you can put the wood framing any way you want to on top of the podium. It's actually it's been a great system, and it's a great neighborhood builder.
Yeah.
So this is I alluded to this when I first started talking, but the image on the left is that street coming in from Town Line. That's what we originally designed 2 years ago, got that approved, and we had townhouse sort of units. And we had that sort of the white brick residential character. And now on the right is what we're designing as you come up Town Line. So it's the character of the street is completely different. And they're both wonderful, different, but they're different kinds of streets. A residential street versus a retail street.
Yeah.
But this is obviously more in line with the phase one and the atmosphere that Centennial and the team is trying to create. In terms of the proposed retail character, they're very similar. We really tried to capture all the magic that we had before, and we're having the success of phase one. And in terms of the height, if you go out there now, the heights are going to be very similar. They're identically, essentially the same in terms of the floor to floor. So the height of the retail, like the Anthropology, et cetera, that's out there, all this new retail will essentially be the same height with the 2 floors of residential on top. And then you transition to the sort of the backside, the other side of the building, which is 4 stories of residential. So the image on the left is what we approved. This would have faced Town Line Road and the parking lots just south of this project. And what you see on the right is the new residential character of the Ring Road. And as I stated earlier, you can see the small pocket parks between sort of the fingers that extend out. So it's a really wonderful opportunity to capture, green space in what's currently an empty parking lot. And with that, go back to the aerial, and if you have any questions. But essentially, all the architectural components that we got approved before, we try to reuse those into the new massing.
Do you guys have your own drone footage of this whole project?
I know Focus Construction has.
We have some, we periodically have taken some. I know we partnered with the village on some drone footage
Yeah,
also.
that's why I brought it up.
Yes.
Because it's really looks nice, looking at it from that kind of, elevated view. Because I know Mike Stordo is,
Yep, that's correct, Mayor. So Mike's services are on a loan to Centennial to document this, and I'm hoping at the end of this, we're going to have something
you
that
guys
shows
ought to go on our website, take a look at it.
We have seen some of it.
Oh, okay.
It's tremendous. It's great to
Oh.
document and archive a project of this size
Well,
and
if you
scale
got
for
some,
posterity.
you got some that we don't have, we'll put it on our website.
We very well may, and we're happy to exchange and share.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
I really like that Phase 1 turned out so well. I like how much this is a similar, significantly similar feel in that. And I think the other plus to this is the not losing the 130,000 square feet of retail. I think that will help the base mall itself significantly, so.
I'd like to add a few extra things. I really liked, so we'll call this new one 2C, I guess. 2B was the second iteration of Phase 2, and 2A was the original one that was in this. So I really liked Phase 2B, and I think I liked 2C even better. Now, for several reasons. I was concerned about 2B in that it seemed like it blocked the view of the mall too much as you're going down 60. Now you can really see more of it. It's not as hidden. And as you may recall, I had conversations with you about 2B in terms of the interior-exterior access, and I really like the idea of people being able to go to the mall year-round and enjoy it. If it's summertime, you can walk on the outside and go to the shops. If
Yeah.
it's the wintertime, you can see the same shops from the inside.
From the inside, yeah.
Which you weren't able to do
Yep.
before. And I think that's great. And also with 2C here, you're not left with the stepchild parking lot that's all the way in the corner that no one's going to want to park at. So now you're really utilizing the space a lot better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, kudos.
Yeah, no question. Is there any other people to speak?
No, that's
Okay,
it. We just would like to thank you for your time this evening.
okay. So is this considered, this
It's
isn't a concept?
It's concept, if you could maybe poll the, sounds like everybody's in a agreement, but poll the board. And I would remind the petitioner that tonight does not constitute an approval. This is your chance to get feedback from the board. You will go on to technical review, then to planning and zoning for a public hearing, and ultimately back here for final board consideration, and then the final decision. At that time, during that time, we'll have to consider the RDA again and amending the RDA because Phase 2 has changed again, and that's not what the RDA currently calls for. So we've got some work to do, but tonight's a good chance for feedback, provided that, Mayor, you get the consensus of the board to move forward.
Sure. Okay, well, how does there?
Just poll the
Mr.
board.
Shank,
Yeah, all good.
Markwart?
Looks fantastic.
Yeah, I like it. Trustee Cook,
Yeah, I like it a lot.
trustee.
Very much
Applebaum,
so, yeah.
Agree.
Trustee Forsythe,
Agree.
okay.
Can I ask, between 1 and 2, 1 and 2C,
Whoa,
there's that space there in between. Is that just going to be another walking path? It's not really highlighted anywhere, but, yeah, right? So above where the yellow is,
Yeah, exactly. Yes, there currently is a walking path there now, and we do see this as an opportunity for Phase 1 and Phase 2 to have a nice, sort of a linear park space between the two of them. So I think, actually I was out there this afternoon, and, people are walking their dogs. I think it's gonna really create a nice, multiple sort of loops, figure eights, people can really walk through. And one thing that we didn't really touch on, but there's the cut through the sort of the smaller, the south building on phase 1, which will then lead you, there's a dog park back here as well, which will lead you to the retail as well. There's multiple ways to kind of permeate the project, which is actually quite interesting.
Will the facade of the entrance of the malls be done concurrently with the residential?
Yes and no. What we're envisioning is the east improvements will be done on the front end of the schedule, and the south improvements would be done on the tail end of that schedule.
Of the Phase 2 schedule?
Correct, yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
okay, we'll see you in the future. Okay, thank you. Jason, you want to say anything?
Good evening, Justin Pillay with Focus, Executive Vice President and Principal. Mayor, happy to see you in person.
Yeah, nice to see you.
And we appreciate you guys' continued support and cooperation on this project, and we look forward to hopefully continuing to deliver great products here and projects, I should say, and product here in Vernon Hills.
Now, is Vicky still around?
Yeah, so Vicky's still around. So if you remember, Mayor, I started with Cy Taxman and Stacy Taxman doing the project at the corner.
Yeah.
And then I hired Vicky, and she did Melody Farm with Matt Hendy and myself and Nick Wimmeyer. And then Vic came on board to do Hawthorn Phase 1, and Courtney has been around for about 10 years with us, and she's going to be doing Phase 2 alongside Vic. So we have a whole team dedicated to Vernon Hills.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. Thank you. Okay. You can go if you want. You guys don't have to hang around. Take care.
not much left, do we?
Okay. Discussion amending Chapter 3, Alcohol Liquor Control of the Vernon Hills Code, establishing an A class and an F catering license, and inserting a license quantity table. Okay. And this is, who's handling this one?
I'll be taking this one.
Okay.
So the committee will probably recall that we had, about a year or so ago, we had a business called Cater Productions moving into the 1000 Butterfield building. When that business came in front of the committee prior to going through their zoning entitlement, we had mentioned as a staff that they would eventually require a liquor license. It took some time to get them through permitting. They were actually sort of operating out of two locations at once, their Libertyville location and Vernon Hills. At this point, they are requesting a liquor license. We do not have a catering license available in our code that would be granted to a caterer. Our only catering license is to a facility, not to a caterer without a facility. So as the state requires dual licensing, they must have a local liquor license in order to get a state license and to continue operating the way that they operate. So what you have in front of you is a draft of what would be a new Class F catering license that would be granted to a caterer as opposed to the Class H, which is granted to a facility. The Class F, it would be very similar in terms of BASA requirements. The primary difference would be to the business, regardless of where they're serving. They would have a base of operation, but the service could be at any type of facility. Happy to answer any questions that you might have, but that is the gist of what is proposed in the packet.
Well, this was actually what we had talked about. This was going to, once they were up and running, we were going to have to do this to.
That's correct.
To cover what they were doing, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay, so this is fine with this.
Yeah.
You'll just bring it back as a,
I would bring it back at the next meeting. We do have a liquor license application from them. I didn't want to confuse by having both at the same meeting, so we can bring this back at the same night that they have their license with the commission.
Quick question. So they're catering, and so I'm assuming, like, say they do like a private party somewhere on some private land, and they're selling liquor. Do they? And if it's in Vernon Hills, do they have to notify the village? Or
No,
with the
not.
license allows them to have free reign?
They're required to have a license in order to purchase liquor and then have it available for an event. But the actual event itself wouldn't necessarily require approval from us. It'd be, for example, a private party. They wouldn't need any individual license for that event.
Okay, thank you.
If they go to another community, do they then have to get like a one-day event license from that community?
It
or-
would probably depend on the licensing
On the-
requirements of that
Yeah,
community. Most communities don't require private events to have a license specific to that event.
Gotcha, okay, thanks.
Yeah, okay. Okay, any other comments or questions on this one? All right, so you're gonna bring it back in an ordinance form?
That's correct.
All right, I gotta ask one question. With electricity, where are we at with that building that we had to provide, Commonwealth Edison had to provide additional electricity? Because all I hear on the news is, you know, we need more electricity, you know? So
That particular building, they have a two-phase project. It's a massive, this is Numera over in the Darling Farm
is it
development.
Numera?
Yes. They have a 65,000 square foot clean room where they do injection molding. It has a massive draw, and there's just not available power to that area.
Sure.
So they've been working with ComEd. The timing for that project is probably about 3 months after when they need to start production. So our role at this point is to make sure that their right-of-way permits are moving along. They're coordinating with ComEd. We sort of facilitate that. But we're also working with them on some temporary power options to help them produce in according to a schedule to keep their customers.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's kind of a wild one. Didn't everybody found out after the fact, you know? Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn? Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor indicate with an aye.
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 Any nays? The ayes have it. Meeting's adjourned.